At the moment, there are more conflicts in the world than at any point since World War II. And I think it's critical that when we think about water, we take steps to understand how it's impacted by conflict.
Okay, water is a unique connector. Let's try to use water less as a weapon, less as a reason for disputes, but more as a connector between people, between countries, between civilizations.
So when we look at the environmental impacts of the conflict in Ukraine, they are incredibly diverse. It might be rivers, streams, aquifers and lakes. We see a really wide range of issues. A lot of these are associated with pollution. We've seen chemical leaks and oil leaks from damaged facilities. We have seen damage where pollution is spread by floodwaters after the Kakhovka Dam collapse, for example.
Of course, the war itself, the shooting, the movement of vehicles, the fortification, the shelling, this all has very, very direct impact on everything which is on the ground. The environment is part of that. And then the water is an integral part of the environment, also suffers. Eventually finds its way in the rivers and then finally into the sea. So the whole water cycle is affected. So whenever a river is polluted or damaged, whenever a lake is polluted or damaged, or a dam is breached and there is no lake anymore, no reservoir, of course this all has effects on how much water is even accessible.
Perhaps the most egregious example of this was with the collapse of the Kakhovka Dam. And there were around 1 million people who lived around the Kakhovka reservoir, which, after it was drained, lost access to water. And this then required a large number of emergency boreholes to be drilled.
So any impact on water quality in the water sources will have a repercussion in the taps, in the apartments, in the buildings, in the industry.
But there are areas where people are still dependent on these potentially contaminated water sources.
So that's unfortunately also very common at the times of war, and certainly in Ukraine.
So when we're looking post-conflict and what can be done in terms of environmental recovery, this is something which will last decades.
So part of the environment will need to be restored. Damage which needs to be dealt with and can be dealt with.
A lot of times post-conflict, the environment is viewed as a very low priority. We've noticed that the environment is this silent victim of armed conflict, so we focus on the direct humanitarian impacts, for example, and not so much on the environment.
One example is demining, like getting rid of landmines. You cannot access strips along the rivers, so all this will need to be handled somehow. And then the other element is bringing in environmental safeguards, if you want, and climate safeguards into every reconstruction activity, every reconstruction project. It's also increasing the sustainability of the whole reconstruction and its results. And if Ukraine is to become a comfortable place to live in the long term, environment is a very important component.